Hello friends, welcome to my channel The Storyteller. Grab the popcorn and soda and the story will start in 3, 2, 1. Get ready for an exciting story that will inspire you and warm your heart. Meet Caleb Harris, a 7-year-old who has been through a terrible accident with his mother. Unfortunately, his mother succumbed to her injuries and little Caleb was left completely alone. Shaken and desperate, the boy was already losing hope when something incredible and unexpected happened. It was night and it was raining heavily. Caleb and his mother Anna had to go home. "Let's go, honey. I left the food you like best in the oven. Let's eat together when we get there," Anna said as she placed the boy in the safety seat. This routine happened practically every day and Caleb always slept on the way home. They lived in the small town of Griffin, but Anna worked in Atlanta, where the company was headquartered. As he spent most of the day in Atlanta, the woman decided to enroll Caleb in a school close to her office. That way, she would be close to her son in any emergency. They had no other family members, so they were very attached to each other. The rides home were always very peaceful, but that night the rain was heavier than usual. Caleb was startled by the noise of the freight trucks passing by, but it seemed that everything was under control. But sadly, that was proven wrong. Anna was driving intently while Caleb had fallen asleep in his seat in the back seat. That's when a truck driver tried to pass at high speed and ended up hitting the side of Anna's car. The vehicle was thrown off the road at the same time. The car spun in the lane and overturned. Anna, still dizzy and scared by what had happened, looked back looking for her son, but the seat belt and the position of the car did not allow her to see him. "Calm down, son. It's over. We're fine," she said. The boy was calmer listening to his mother and confirmed that he was fine in his safety seat. He wanted to cry, but he was too scared to even let the tears fall. It took about 30 minutes for help to arrive. The truck driver responsible for the accident was the one who called for help. He explained that he was trying to get home for his young daughter's birthday and had his vision impaired by the rain. Anyway, the man had missed his daughter's birthday for good, as he was taken to the police station, while Anna and Caleb took the ambulance to an area hospital. It wasn't until the doctors started looking at mother and child that they realized that all was not well. The doctors examined Caleb and, surprisingly, found nothing to worry about. Anna was already in a more serious condition. Perhaps the concern for the child and the adrenaline of the moment masked her problem, as they found serious internal bleeding and the woman had to undergo emergency surgery. Caleb felt lost with all those doctors rushing back and forth around his mother. "Hey boy, why don't we go get something to eat?" said a doctor taking the boy away. His name was David and he was a newly minted resident. When he asked about Caleb's father, the boy said he had never met and didn't even know who he was. The little one ate a sandwich and a scoop of ice cream, but as soon as he had the opportunity he asked the doctor, "Boy, is mommy going to be okay?" The resident had not yet dealt with that type of situation and found himself without an answer. What he had learned in college was never promise what he couldn't guarantee. "Boy, I'm sure my peers are doing their best for your mom, but don't worry, okay? Soon, you return home." David stayed by the boy's side the whole time, even when he fell asleep after resisting a lot. One of the doctors then emerged and said that Anna, still in the operating room, was conscious and wanted to see her son. The resident already knew what was going to happen, so he woke Caleb and took him to his mother. Lying on the bed, Anna asked Caleb to come closer to her. She asked him to swear that he would always be an honest and caring boy with other people, just as he had been with her. And asked, above all, that he be strong like never before, because his life was about to change. Lastly, my darling Caleb, know that I love you and will always care for you. Tears streamed down Anna's cheeks as she held her son one last time. Anna passed away that night, leaving Caleb to face the world all alone. With no father and no family, social services were called and Caleb had to go to an orphanage. The boy resisted a lot at first. It was hard to accept that, until recently, he had a home, a mother who loved him more than anything in the world, and a stable routine. Now none of that existed anymore. The funeral was simple and modest, attended only by David and a few of Anna's colleagues at work. The boy said goodbye to his mother and made a tearful promise. "I will always come visit you, Mother. I will never forget her last words and who you were to me." The first few nights at the orphanage were not easy. His last peaceful sleep had been in the car on the way home. And then, when he suddenly woke up, the car was upside down and his mother was screaming her name. The memories seemed to come with more intensity during the night. When, finally, he managed to sleep, Caleb dreamed that Anna came through the door of the orphanage to get him. When he woke up, he was still enveloped in the feeling this dream provided. He spent hours thinking about it, getting more and more alone, as he didn't interact much with other children. As he was the newcomer, the children made fun of him. "Hey, Caleb, you're thinking about your mother's ghost again, are you? I think you better stop being such a bitch and accept that she's dead and not coming back. No one will want to adopt a crybaby like you." The orphanage staff didn't seem to mind and let things take their natural course. Some mornings they took all the kids to a local park. There were some toys and opportunities for newcomers and older children to play together. But the practice didn't work with Caleb. Upon realizing that the park was close to the cemetery where his mother was buried, he left the group and ran to fulfill his promise to always visit her, while everyone was distracted. He couldn't leave the orphanage whenever he wanted, so he had to take advantage of the opportunity. Upon reaching the tomb, Caleb sat down and began to tell her how his life was going now, that she was no longer around. It was amazing how he spoke more in just 10 minutes than he had in all the weeks he had already spent at the orphanage. For the boy, it was as if she were really there. Caleb could even imagine what she would say and the way she would laugh when he said something funny. "Mom, how I miss you," he thought all the time, like it was a mantra. Caleb also talked about how much he suffered at the orphanage, how the kids were mean and the staff just weren't helpful. "I don't have anything else here, I don't have anyone, and I don't feel any happier than I did with you, Mom," Caleb said, raising his voice, angry and crying. "I wanted to disappear from this world, not exist anymore. I don't want to live without you anymore, take me with you, take me," he screamed. Suddenly, a mother touched his shoulder and started stroking him, as if she wanted to comfort him. Caleb felt his chest warm and he felt like he was dreaming, but this was all too real. He turned quickly and found himself face to face with a woman with a charming smile. "Are you well? I realized you were crying and decided to see if you needed anything," said the mysterious woman. Caleb tried to wipe away the tears and struggled to say everything that was stuck in his throat, but he couldn't. "Look, I understand it's hard, but I can see that you don't want to be alone either. What if I sit next to you and we stay together?" she said, trying to comfort the boy somehow. Caleb nodded. The woman said that her name was Yana and that she was there visiting the grave of her son, who had died some years ago and was a little older than Caleb. The boy then disarmed himself and was finally able to communicate. He said that his mother had recently died and was there to visit her, but that in fact he had run away from the tour with the orphanage in order to be there. They talked for a while longer, until Yana offered to take him back to the orphanage. Caleb didn't know the exact address, but he remembered the streets he'd taken to get there. On their way back, they passed in front of the park and saw a carousel. Yana noticed how fascinated Caleb seemed with the toy and urged him to hop on one of the horses. The carousel began to spin and the boy smiled for the first time in weeks. Looking around, he noticed several twinkling lights on the trees and lots of lights and decorations, indicating that it was already Christmas time. When Caleb got off the ride, he ended up stepping on something bulky. As he looked down at the floor, he saw a leather wallet. There weren't many people in the park at the time, so he bent down to stealthily pick it up, looking around, trying to see if anyone could be the owner of the item. Upon opening the wallet, Caleb was in shock. He had never seen so much money in his life. There were several $100 bills, some of them crumpled. That was enough money for him to escape the orphanage once and for all. Caleb walked back to Yana, but didn't say anything about what he'd found. He wondered how a man could have dropped all that money and not come back to look for it. However, on the way out of the park, Caleb and Yana passed a security guard and the boy felt a shock go through him. He remembered the promise he had made his mother while she was on her deathbed. Being honest and caring with other people, just asking Yana to wait a bit. Caleb pulled his wallet out of his pocket and handed it to the security guard, saying that someone had lost it near the carousel. "My goodness, I'm glad you found Mr. Watson, boy. He is one of our park's longest-serving employees and was devastated to have lost his entire end-of-year salary. You just saved his family's Christmas, young man." Security turns to Yana and finishes. "Congratulations on your son, miss. You must be very proud of him." That last comment silently hurt both of them. When Yana and Caleb finally arrived at the orphanage, they believed they would find everyone worried about the boy's disappearance. However, the officials were surprised to see that he was returning at that hour. It was as if they hadn't even noticed that he hadn't returned with the rest of the group. The other children noticed a clear discomfort generated in the environment and began to laugh at him. "See? No one even missed the crybaby. Better run to your bed again, after all, that's what you came back for, isn't it?" Yana was stunned by the omission of the officials. Caleb was completely embarrassed and hurt. The woman left with a heavy heart and decided to enter a church not far away. She prayed that Caleb would find a family that would treat him right and truly love him. For the next few days, Yana was unable to get a good night's sleep. One night, she dreamed of her dead son. The one she'd gone to visit the afternoon she'd met Caleb. It had been a few years since she had dreamed about the boy and because of this she was shaken. She couldn't go back to sleep anymore. She got up to get a glass of water and was remembering her last memory with her son. The two were on a beach, as they did almost every weekend. But she was distracted for a few seconds while putting on sunscreen and he went into the sea alone. When she realized the boy wasn't on the shore, her heart froze. Hours later, the boy was found in the sea by the rescue team, unfortunately lifeless. In the dream, the boy appeared in a house and kept repeating the phrase "Mother, please take me with you," as he handed over a note with an address. Drinking water in the kitchen, Yana remembered the address and wrote it down on paper so she wouldn't forget it the next morning. "Even though I thought it was just a dream." The next day, she told her husband what was going on. From the day she met Caleb, to the strange dreams about her deceased son. "My love, I don't understand any of these things. But if our son is trying to say something, I think you should listen," said the man. Yana took the address from the paper and checked it on her cell phone to see if it actually existed. To her amazement, the address was real and led to a home for orphan children. The same one Caleb was living in. The husband was confused, thinking this was too much of a coincidence. But the woman then reveals that she had connected with that child in the cemetery. "I felt good with him that day. I felt that he needed me, but that I needed him too. We kept each other company. He's an honest boy and it feels like for the first time in a long time I was whole again," Yana said. Her husband hugged her tightly and announced that they were going to the orphanage right then and there. The couple was greeted by one of the employees who said that visiting hours were over, and appointments had to be made in advance by phone. The man then explained the situation, trying to get the employee to make an exception. But he seemed unyielding. It was then that the husband remembered what Yana had told him, of how they seemed to ignore how the kids felt. That's when the man offered two $50 bills. The employee accepted without asking anything else and opened the door for the couple. "My boss isn't here, so enjoy," he said with a grin from ear to ear. Upon entering the room, Yana recognized Caleb within seconds. He was on the couch by himself while other kids were playing. As soon as Caleb saw Yana, he ran towards her and hugged her. The husband took advantage of the moment and started asking the boy some questions. "Hey, tell me what a kid like you was doing in the cemetery at that time." And Caleb, more at ease now, responded by looking down. "I was talking to my mother, sir. I was asking her to take me from here, far away from here." This shocked the couple. How could someone so young say something like that? Yana and her husband exchanged glances and looked afraid of what they were about to suggest to each other. Obviously, they wanted to adopt Caleb and take him home right then and there. But the situation was not as simple as that. Yana in no way wanted to show that she was replacing her son. But maybe her dream was a kind of authorization to allow herself to love another child in her house. After all, since her son left, her life has never been the same. And nothing and no one seemed to be able to erase that. After much talk at home and a plan drawn up to get through the complicated adoption process, the couple decided it was time to move on. And most importantly, give a home to those who needed it so much. They spent months trying to fulfill all the necessary requirements to adopt Caleb and visited the boy almost daily during that time, ensuring he was being treated well. After what seemed like an eternity, the day finally arrived. And Caleb saw Yana and her husband in the orphanage lobby waiting for him. With tears in her eyes, Yana opened her arms and Caleb ran to her. The hug they gave touched even the institution's employees and some of the children who made fun of him. Caleb went home to his newest family. Over time, he stopped being a recluse and got along much better with other people. Over Sunday lunch, something that seemed to be a new tradition within his new family, Caleb spoke with pride. "I thank you very much for everything, but I also thank my mother. I'm sure she somehow got me out of the orphanage. After all, she promised she would take care of me." Yana also thanked him, saying that she went to a church the day she met Caleb. Inside, she prayed that the boy would find a family that cared for and loved him dearly. She just didn't imagine that this family would be hers. Caleb and his new parents went to the cemetery once a month in memory of their departed. Caleb bought a bouquet of roses that graced his mother's grave. Yana was also always close to her late son, making it clear that both would never be forgotten. Yana and Caleb felt that, in a mysterious way, they had been truly responsible for that unlikely union that ended up forming a happy family again. As they left the cemetery, they walked towards the park and Caleb ran to the carousel, his favorite ride. Meanwhile, his parents watched the boy spin around and around with the greatest possible care and affection. I hope Caleb's story touched your heart and inspired you in some way. If this story moved you, please like and share with your friends and family. Also, be sure to check out the next video that's popping up on your screen, as I'm sure it will move you too. Thanks for watching and until the next session.